What's up, world? It's your boy Tommy Malv, and I came to give my review on part 2 of Crisis on Infinite Earth. And if you thought the first one sucked, you are in for just disaster, right? The first one sucked, and I told if you got my first one, they tried to get it flagged and pulled down, but I had to re-upload it without, because I had the first one I had like the movie of it, like the what is it called, I had like the trailer for the first one in it, so they flagged it. So what is leading me to believe is that all these people that you see giving reviews on these shows, and in these shows they have all these trailers and stuff. It leads me to believe that all these people are paid by the CW network, because it blows my mind that they can flag my video, but every time I come online, I have to look at, I see these people with the same with the trailers and stuff up. So that's leading me to believe that the CW has okayed those people because they say good stuff about them. I am generally a fan of the Arrowverse, but I am not but this thing has been a dumpster fire from the minute it started. If you do not know, I'm not gonna rehash it. Go check out my first video, which I had to pull down and re-upload, in which I explained why I did not like the first episode, part 1, episode 1, whatever you want to say, of the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline. So now we on to part 2, and it just got worse. And I thought maybe, that was just the beginning. It's gonna get better on the second one. So they start out with them saying they got to find the 7 paragons, which we all know, we all watching it know, just slang word was, we got to put the 7 people that we actually can use, because we have to have a reason why we wouldn't use all these more powerful people in the universe that are a lot more powerful than these garbage B characters that we have here. So we're gonna have to make up a good excuse. What's a good excuse? Oh, you're the paragons. So they made up this thing about paragons, right? Obviously, Tom Welling didn't want to do it, so they had to find another one. So they get this rip-off actor that they already have playing another character, because he once played in a Superman movie, in Brandon Roth, and they're your Kingdom Come Superman. And really, I'll get to the whole Smallville thing, because that's one of the many things that pissed me off about this episode, this thing, right? So they do this. So basically, this is like outside of Superman, barely. I mean, it really wasn't like really. No, the males kind of were like minor characters in this episode. Is really about all the women. Iris, for some reason, Iris and Lois were the ones they sent to do this task. When you got a killer and Lex Luthor out here trying to kill people, and who's the best to go send? We gonna send the girls who can fight, which is the White Canary, Oliver's daughter, and now and who's the other one, and all of the useful characters we gonna send, because we need all y'all to drop the Green Arrow into a pit. Couldn't Lois and Iris have done that? Like, why are they doing that? So all the useful characters are here, and you got Iris and Lois going out to these different dimensions to meet Superman while Lex Luthor is trying to kill them. Makes no sense whatsoever. So they're there. They're both just useless in the episode. No reason to be there outside of what? They have no reason to be there. Why the hell would you send Iris to go save Superman? I don't know. I guess they needed a spot for Iris in this episode, but why wouldn't she be with Barry? It beats me, right? So like I said before, we beyond that, and we jump into the thing that pissed me. One of the first things that pissed me off about this episode. They cut to Iris going to meet Tom Welling, Smallville, Superman, the iconic role that is possibly, that in most people's eyes is the best portrayal of Superman in history is Smallville. He is the iconic one. I mean, I know you got the movie Superman, but when you talk about iconic, that is so closely related to Superman, it is Smallville. Smallville is probably the most closely associated version of Clark Kent there is, right? So we all, if you grew up like you, I didn't grow up watching Smallville, but I liked the show when I was fairly young, about 16 or 17 years old, and I started watching the show when I was younger, and I really finished up the series when I was younger. When I was older, and when I did, it was one of the best written shows, superhero shows I'd ever seen. Very, very well written. Like I said, I've yet to find a a show that was written as well as that show was. It could be a little crazy at times, but it was on for so long, and they were so good at using their low budget, yet still letting the storyline anchor the show. Something a lot of these new shows could learn from. So regardless, they go to find him. So I know that people said his part was going to be relatively small, and they let people know that. I understand that. I would have understood him saying, "Look, I don't want to deal with this." But what they chose to do with his character was so awful and so terrible that it killed the Smallville series. Right? They say Clark Kent gave away his powers. Right? Now, if you watch Smallville, you'll realize Clark Kent's duty as Superman was one of the driving forces behind the show, right? So you kind of just destroy the show if you say, oh yeah, he just decided to give up his power. So I'm sitting there thinking about mine. So all these people that are dying and all this stuff that's going on, you just said F them, and now you just living off on a farm somewhere. So it kind of kills the show. So obviously, as a person who was a fan of the show, when I watch it, I'll just choose to omit this stupid part of it and just act like it's not a part of the canon. But why would you do that again? Why? Because, like I said, they feed off their own. It's they took that old Last Jedi school of thought. Oh, we just destroy the old to help the new. So if we destroy this old Clark Kent, then we'll make the new Superman series look better. Which you won't. It just makes people who watch Smallville hate the what you just did. So if you know anything about Smallville, the Clark Kent character in that show basically gave up everything to develop into this role, to take on this role, and it ended with him accepting the fact that he can be Clark Kent and still have a family. He can be Clark Kent, but it's vitally important for him to be Superman. He's a symbol of hope. He's all this stuff. So, especially if you watch from the time that he watched the show from the beginning and his whole situation with the Lana character in there, Lana was literally like the love of his life. And he gave her up for the sake of being Superman. She gave him up so that he could be Superman. So all these things that are entwined in this show make absolutely no sense. One of the reasons why he chose the lowest character in Smallville was because he said because with his belief was she would help him become the Superman he needed to be in the future. Now, if you cut to the future, in which they did on multiple occasions in that timeline in Smallville, he was Superman. So how he chose to give it all up now makes absolutely no sense. And all these people who worked throughout the entire Smallville to make him into Superman, they basically were screwed. So he basically said F you to all these people who died and fought for him and suffered for him to be Superman. It makes him a scumbag. So first you got that. Secondly, you turn around. The second thing they do is they go to the Batman Beyond Batman, which is the old Batman. And they bring Kate Kane in, and all of a sudden the most important person in his life was Kate Kane, when half of us didn't even know who Kate Kane was before this show started. But she was the most important thing to Bruce Wayne, and they just made Bruce Wayne basically a scumbag. Now, I didn't watch Batman Beyond, so I don't know. But if I was a person who watched Batman Beyond, and now I got to see this character who I grew up as a child watching get destroyed for the sake of Kate Kane, well, I mean, all it's going to do is make me hate Kate Kane. Because we know that Batman Beyond is not that. So we're not going to like Kate Kane more. We're just going to hate. I mean, we're not going to believe the interpretation of Batman Beyond. We're just going to hate Kate Kane. Just like we're not going to believe that this is Smallville Clark for the sake of nothing. Like, well, why would I accept this storyline again? It was if you thought if you remember, I said the CGI in the last one was bad. The CGI in this one was worse. I mean, it was bad. I'm talking about look like sixth grade art project bad. I showed it to my wife, and even she started laughing because it was just terrible. Like, I mean, and I don't know absolutely nothing about CGI. Filmmaking, nothing, and I generally don't even care about these type of things, but it was so unbelievably bad. It was so bad that I could not help but to say this is horrible. Why even, if you're gonna do it that bad and that low budget, why even have the fight to begin with? Because absolutely nobody asked for a fight between Clark Kent, the two Clark Kent Supermans. Nobody knows who this Kingdom Come, unless you read comic books. You don't even know who this Kingdom Come Superman is, and the other new Superman, nobody really knows him. So nobody asked for this fight. No one asked for this fight. Nobody. So to me, it's just a exercise in futility. You just wasting time. Like, why do we care about any of these characters? And they spent a whole episode going in circles, doing this over and over and over again. And it was bad. When I say it was bad, I mean it was bad. I thought yesterday was bad, and I thought maybe it was because they didn't really have a lot of time to get to enough. No, it was bad. This second part was worse. And they destroyed all these characters that they propped up promoted as being in this. Like I said before, nobody it have been reported that the Smallville part was going to be small, but you expect it to be to give ode to what that franchise meant to that network, and they really just made the Smallville whole entirety of Smallville irrelevant. And if you watch Batman Beyond, they did the same thing to that for the sake of the new Superman, who was garbage, and who I said in my last episode that he was the most bland character. He does not scream Superman to me, and when he's on the set, half the time I forget he's Superman. That's how terrible he is. And so at the character, I don't know him as an actor or anything like that. He's probably a good actor in other places. Just specifically as Superman, I do not like him, and. So you got that, and to me, it just comes off. It came off as the Last Jedi effect. We gonna burn up the old to prop up the new, and it just came off as bad. The writing was woefully bad. The Superman, when the Kingdom Come, Brandon, whatever his name, I think his name is Brandon Roth, the guy who plays Ray Palmer. He was horrible as Superman. Like, I mean, he was bad. Him as an evil Superman was worse. I mean, it was like hack-me, bad acting, both by the girl who played, Candace, I think her name is Candace Patton. She is a brilliant actor, generally. She is really, really good. But when you put her on with that hack-me and terrible of a script, Lois, the lady who plays Lois looks like she's 50, and even on top of that, her acting is horrible. I mean, she looks bad. She's terrible. I mean, they're gonna base this whole series around those two. These two bland, boring characters are gonna build Superman. That show is gonna flop on his face. Just like Supergirl is flopping, because I've never been a fan of Supergirl. I'm like, okay, who wants a B-rate Superman? That's all she is, a D-rate Superman. So I'm gonna go watch a D-rate Superman just because it's a girl. And what trips out, he's like, Kate, you're the courage. You're the Superman. You're the Batman. I'm not one of these people who hate Batwoman. I like I said before, I have a problem with the premise, and you can go look at my first video to hear why I have a problem with the premise. But I don't hate the character. I just wish that they would try to do something. Like I said, I'm not going to comment on Batwoman because I don't watch the show. I don't know anything about her. But what I do know is the character Kate Kane is not that important. So you cannot just hoist her just because you have rights to her, and just because you're trying to put out a show. Now you're just going to start forcing her in the spot she doesn't belong. I'm sorry. She's the paragon of courage. Seriously, that's where we going? She's the paragon of courage. And what trips you out is the monitor says, well, I know all these 7 people, but I can't tell you who they are. You have to go find them. What? Then how do you know who they are if you don't know who they are? I mean, it was crap. The first show was crap. The second show was worse. I thought it would get better in the second. I was looking forward to maybe now they got a little more time. They're gonna flesh out a lot. Oh yeah, now I didn't got to the worst junk in the world. If you thought Oliver Queen was dead, you got half of an episode to believe he was dead, and then he came right back, and they said they got to get his soul back now. So that whole little triumphant depth on the last one that they badly CGI'd and then brought him in when I said it was a crap, undramatic death anyways. Then now he's back and he's gonna die again, and now we're supposed to believe he died again. No, nobody believes. I mean that, like, now it gives no gravity to any of the deaths. Ever they're talking about bringing Barry back if he dies, and it's like man, it really is just undercutting everything. Cause now it's like they brought in like these people that they're bringing in, these people that they advertise for cameos. They're all like washed up actors that are just doing the parts because they ain't got nothing else better to do. And the guy that they got playing Lex Luthor, like I said, I do not watch Supergirl, but they got Ferris Bueller playing Lex Luthor now. It looked bad. Like when I was like when he said you're not Lex Luthor, I literally thought in my mind that's Lex Luthor. Like he's Lex Luthor. Maybe because I watched Smallville, you know what I'm saying, and with Michael Rosenbaum and that iconic way he played Lex Luthor, it's like every other Lex Luthor always pales in comparison because he was so good as Lex Luthor. I don't care what other character he plays, he looked like he embodied everything that Lex Luthor was. He was a guy who was a complex character, but he was brilliant, but he was cool, and he was edgy and brilliant at the same time, and you could tell the whole point was that he was a person in conflict with himself constantly about what he should do. Should he do what he knows will get the job done, or should he do what is right? And 9 out of 10 times, what got the job done would generally win out. And so he was always fighting that worse in nature. That's what made him good. This dude, he looked like I'm sorry, he's not a good Lex Luthor. He doesn't come off as charming. All the Lex Luthors I've seen have always been charming, brilliant. You know what I'm saying? And like they have charisma. This guy has zero charisma. He has zero. He looks terrible. He looks bad. He looks really bad. I'm like, who does the casting for this? Who casted him? When I saw him, I'm like, who casted him as Lex Luthor? This is horrible. So a lot of these shows, now that I'm watching this crossover thing, I'm happy I never watched them. I'm happy I never watched Batwoman, and now I'm happy I never watched Supergirl, because I'm not going to watch either one of them now. Only really shows that I really watch, I don't watch Arrow anymore. Only 2 shows I really watch is Flash and Black Lightning now. Them the only 2 shows I really watch. And Black Lightning is starting to get on my nerves too, because they making the whole thing around freaking those 2 lesbian girls instead of the girl with the most charisma and the Black Lightning girl, the girl Jennifer. I think she's the one with the most charisma aside from Black Lightning. I mean, those are the ones. I mean, the Nessa girl, she's cool and all, but she doesn't command the screen. She's boring. It's like they're just trying to push this gay thing, and so they're spending all their time on her, and I just don't like that aspect of that show. But other than that, I really don't watch those shows. I watch Arrow, but I usually binge watch it after it's done. But other than that, like I said, it was horrible. It was horrible. There's no way around it. It's been a mess. The first one was a mess. The second one is still a mess. So if you do not know, Crisis on Infinite Earths so far has been a low budget disaster. The lack of A characters is just astounding. It's bad. That's all I can say is it's bad. You remember last time, the last episode, I said, why don't they just bring 12 Superman? Well, they remedied that. They said that Lex Luthor has been jumping from place to place, killing all the Superman. The most intelligent man on the planet, in the world, believes that it's smart at a time when when the world is in danger to go and kill every person that would be able to prevent him from dying. This is the most intelligent man on the planet, in Lex Luthor. But he's gonna go through each dimension, killing every single person who could actually help him. They should imprison writers for being this stupid. Like I said before, they should have. Kudos for trying to take on Crisis: The Infinite Earth. So far, they have gotten an F. I mean, it has been bad. It has been bad. They clearly could not get any A people to do it, any A characters. They couldn't buy out, couldn't afford any A characters, so they keep getting all these D characters. I mean, and they keep trying, and the whole time they're trying to spin a reason for why these D characters are at the forefront, and it's just cringy. It's cringy. When they did the Courage thing with Batwoman, it's like, you're the Bat of the future. Is she? Really? Is she? Because that looks like a pretty crappy future if she's the future. I mean, she's not even really Bat. She didn't create Batman. She just stepped, like I said before. I'm not a fan of what I saw. I thought it was horrible. And I still think it's horrible. So, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm tripping. But please comment. Let me know what you think. I feel like they crapped on Smallville, crapped on Batman Beyond, crapped on everything that. I mean, Smallville was the topic for me. Smallville built the CW. I mean, literally, Smallville. I mean, Dawson Creek built the CW, but Smallville is one that took the Smallville. I'm sorry. Dawson Creek built the WB. Smallville built the CW. All their shows were positioned around Smallville. Supernatural, none of those would be the shows they are without Smallville. And then you go and you crap on it. And the most iconic character in CW history, you have just made him worse than Luke in a way. Luke, I mean, that's like worse than Luke Skywalker. What they just did to that Smallville character. I mean, now you're like, what do you? So he's that selfish that he would let all these people who've been needing him. I mean, especially if you look at the comic books that they made after that, that decision doesn't make a lot of sense. That means you're leaving a lot of other people to die and a lot of your friends to die. I mean, why would you even have kids until you retired or something like that? Like, why would you do it when you're still young? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Not to mention, why is he older now? Whatever. Regardless, it's not like they got the budget to do CGI. But it was just bad. It's just bad. If you do not have the money or the budget to do it, then just don't do it. But anyways, please comment. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel if you like it. Alright, y'all. Peace.